Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. You're watching part 2 of my video, how to make money as a fashion designer. So first things first, you want to trademark your brand name. Now trademarking has a lot of benefits. It just legally means that your name is protected within a certain region for a 10-year period of time. So after 10 years, you have to renew the application. The trademarking process costs about £200. And the only body in the UK that does the trademark is the IPO, so that's the Intellectual Property Office. So you go to them, you do the search, you check if there's any other existing companies out there within a specific class, and on that point you want to register in class 25 because that's relevant to clothing, headgear and footwear. So once you do that check, if there is any existing brand that has a similar name, then you probably want to veer away from that particular name. Other than that, then I'd say proceed with the application, but be aware that your application still can get contested if there is an existing company that thinks it infringes on their trademark. Next, define the values for the brand. So ultimately, you're asking yourself, what do I want the brand to stand for? Now, the best way to do this is find 3 key terms that are most appropriate for the brand. The way you can do this is by brainstorming. It's not an exercise for you to go into a thesaurus and find the most complex words. You want to try and keep it really simple. Now, for the brand Emile Vidal Car, our 3 main values are engineering, vivid and indulgent. Now, the way we come up with this is engineering is to denote how the complexity of the garment making process, and then the use of the term vivid is in relation to the bold colours that we use in our collections. And finally, the use of the word indulgent is telling the customer that when you buy one of our products, you're indulgent in the same way that you buy a box of chocolates. The next step is to identify 3 main brand competitors. Now, they don't have to be brands that sell products that are exactly similar to what you're doing. They just need to ideally sell to the same target consumer that you're aiming for. Now, this is really appropriate more for the brands that are looking to sell to retail. So if you're ever in a position where you're in a meeting with a head of buying, whether it be for Selfridges, Harrods, etc., one of the questions they're going to ask you is, who is your brand adjacencies? Now, the answer that they want to hear is brands that they currently stock. And that's what you must remember. Whenever you approach a buyer, make sure you've done your research first and only approach them if they are stocking brands that hold similar product categories to you. As designers, we want to create something that doesn't exist, which is really good, but as I said in the previous video, it doesn't really make business sense. When you think of buyers, they don't really take risks. They want to make sure that they can position your brand next to an existing brand on their shop floor that's selling well, so you can piggyback off that and make money, and that will judge whether or not your brand is a success in their store. So the price point is a really vital one, and as designers we tend to be scared by the numbers and totally ignore it. But when you think of your retail price point, your costs shouldn't really exceed 20%. Then your wholesale price shouldn't really exceed 30 to 35% maximum of that retail price. Now, here's the reason why. When you are dealing with retailers, they will take that wholesale price and multiply it by about 2.9 on average to get that RRP. Now, whether or not your product is selling on their website or yours, the price point, the final price point has to be the same, because you have to bear in mind that consumers are really savvy and they'll just do a quick Google and see that your product is cheaper elsewhere. And if that product is cheaper elsewhere on someone else's website, then they're going to get the sale. And when you think about it, a product selling on your website, you're going to yield a higher return than if it sells via the retailer. Before we move on that topic of wholesale, you want to make sure that when you are selling your product to a retailer at wholesale price, you set a minimum number of units which they have to buy. Now, it doesn't make sense then buying one unit at wholesale price because you're never going to make any money. But think back to the minimums that the factory would have set for you that you have to produce with them to qualify for a certain price point. The principle works in the exact same way. For a retail buyer to pay what would be about 33% of your retail price, they would have to order be 8, 10, 50 at very minimum of your particular product, depending on what price point it's at, whether it's high street, premium or high end. So the final part of this video is going to be talking to you about your range plan. Now this is how you design your collection, and it's all about the distribution of product categories within that collection. So you don't have to follow the exact numbers that I'm going to go through, but just bear it in mind when you are designing your ranges. So when you're designing your collections, ideally 20% of it should be conceptual. So this is the stuff that's going to go on a catwalk and make people say, wow. It's going to be great for grabbing the attention of buyers because they're going to want to inquire about who you are. And then it's going to be great for grabbing the attention of press and bloggers because they're going to want to do features on you. Now, the next category is the signature range. This will make up about 30% of your collection, and it will have a slightly different price point. So with your signature range, there'll be features in it that the consumer will immediately be able to identify is from your brand. Now, the best example I can give is Louboutin shoes. Whenever you see a red sole, you immediately think of them. So if you can think of a feature within your range you can make consistent across the products, and that will really help brand loyalty because customers will be able to associate a certain thing with your brand name. The remaining 50% of your collection is meant to be the basic range. Now this is made up of entry-level products that are priced cheaper but will sell quicker. And it's your basic range that will ultimately pay your bills because you'll shift a lot more units, and it will also fund the signature range and the concept range, which won't make any or very little money. I really hope that you found this video useful. If you enjoyed it, please like, share and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the next video.